Hello, colleagues. Hello, friends, and welcome to The Corporation, the podcast that's too fun to fail. This is the show where I speak to employees of Hogswood-Cooper Media, the worldwide conglomerate that owns everything from lobbying firms to cable news outlets. Each week, I strive to learn about and celebrate the folks who work for the many subsidiaries of this remarkable company. I'm your host, Dean Ardenfell, and I'm required to state that I am not employed by Hogswood-Cooper. But boy, am I a fan, and I think you're going to be too. So let's get into it, shall we? My first guest is a financial advisor who's a frequent contributor to Cooper News Network's Money Tomorrow program. She's also a best-selling author and financial speaker. Her latest book, Skip the Latte, A Guide to Escaping Crushing Financial Debt by Denying Yourself the Small Joys in Life, has sold millions of copies worldwide. She has a big personality and is also an amateur butter sculptor. Please welcome Betty L. Mayfair, everybody.
Hello, Dean.
Hello.
I'm so glad that we could make this work today.
Oh, me too. I know you're a very busy woman, so I appreciate you making the time to speak with us.
I really am.
And you, like, people love your personality. They love your advice.
Yes.
You're like the fun aunt who like shoots straight with people, right? Mm-hmm. And people like that. Mm-hmm. And your whole thing is you like to tell people cut back on the little things, right?
That's right. Just stop.
Just stop, right? And
yes.
So that's your thing.
Yes.
And what do you say to people when they're like, I don't think if I stop drinking coffees in restaurants and eating restaurant food that I'm going to be able to pay back my student debt, for instance?
I am so glad you asked that.
Because I'm in the exact situation.
Sure.
So
that is exactly sort of the lifestyle that many of us have fallen into.
Yeah.
So once you actually track your monthly spending, mm-hmm. you will note, you go through with a highlighter, you take a highlighter mm-hmm. and you highlight those lattes, hundreds of dollars every month, Dean. And you know what? You could be throwing those $100 right at your debt. Have you written out your debt, Dean?
I've tried. Mm-hmm. I know you're supposed to get the Betty L. Mayfair workbook.
That is exactly correct.
And I haven't done that yet, so I haven't started doing quantifying all of my debt yet.
Okay, well, if you wait to buy that, this is just a budgeter piece of advice for you.
Sure.
If you wait to purchase my workbook until October 15th mm-hmm. at 11 p.m. And enter the code half off with a dash between them,
okay,
you can receive my workbook for half off.
Wow, I'm putting that in my calendar right away.
You know what, Dean? You already use a calendar and you are already well on your journey.
Wow. So it's, I know that I'm excited about everything you're saying, and mm-hmm. I'm going to start to implement it as quickly as possible here.
Thank you.
Some people find your advice sort of simplistic, or have accused you of talking down to them. Mm. What's your response to those people?
You know, I would say that, sure, you might feel like I'm treating you like a 5-year-old, but can your 5-year-old set away $5 each week in a cash envelope and put that towards buying a car when they are 16?
Sure.
A 5-year-old can. Mm. So why can you not pay off your student loans?
See, that seems so simple to me, but for some reason people, especially when you accuse them of being patronizing and then you call them a 5-year-old again, for some reason people don't like that. Right?
I could understand that. And I guess I would just say, you know, if you're content to continue to pile up debt week after week, month after month, and make those charges on your credit card, that's a life that you're resolving to.
So what do you say to people who say, like, I've had a huge and unexpected medical expense that's crushing my family, and your suggestion that I put $5 away a week is not going to cut it?
Sure.
What's your response to that?
So what I would say, and what you will find when you purchase my budgeting workbook,
can't wait for that,
is that really you should have been starting your emergency fund years ago.
Okay, sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
There is a 52-week savings plan where you put away $1 one week all the way up to $52. So think, if you had set aside that emergency fund and then, you know, little Timmy falls and breaks his leg, you are set. You are not having to put these charges on your credit card.
Right.
You are able to pay in cash to fix Timmy's leg.
Amazing. And for those people who might have more expensive procedures, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We all make choices, I guess. You know that I would
start
say
earlier, right?
Well, you should start earlier, and really, ask yourself, is the procedure necessary?
Right. Yes. Yes. I wanted to get into that because that's another thing. Some people think sometimes that your advice is like cruel or something when you're shooting straight with them. Like, for instance, you told a family with some unforeseen medical expenses they should consider the cost-benefit analysis of letting their father die. And that's just tough love, right? Some people need to hear it that way.
I think so. I do think that sometimes when we decide to create a family, that we should really think about these things. For instance, if I have a child with this man, will he still be alive 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road?
Okay, yeah. And the child or the man you marry?
The man that you choose to marry.
Sure. Well, both really, right? Because you have to plan for everything. Yeah.
And you know what? If you have 2 children, that is a vast expense that takes years of saving and preparation for.
Right.
Let's say, Lord heavens, let's say they died.
Sure. I mean, heavens,
You're kind of saving.
Right. And that's the only point you're making. You're not being heartless. You're just saying if that child dies, then that leaves more money in your personal finances for the
That's
living.
Correct.
The living
you
relative.
can snowball those funds towards your debt, and once that is paid off, you can start saving towards a cash payment towards something, a down payment, all in cash, Dean.
Wow, that's so amazing. And you also tell people not to get credit cards unless it's the Mayfair Platinum card. But that's just the best one, right? It's not because you're making money on it.
Absolutely, Dean. You get about 2 weeks without interest charges.
Amazing.
And then beyond that, you'll want to make sure that you make those monthly payments.
Right,
I'll put it that way.
Sure.
But it's really it's a way to learn.
Right. And and the longer you go without making payments on it, the more you learn, right?
That's right. That's right. And I do occasionally, I sort of when someone makes the purchase, I quickly do a little bit of research into their financial situation, which is all made available to me. And
really?
If it seems appropriate, I will actually add in. And I think this is so great. It's such a bonus. I will throw in an extra debt tracker. Have you taken a look at some of my debt trackers?
Not yet, because they are quite expensive.
They are quite expensive, but Dean, thinking of you specifically, I think that you would find the ones that are set up like a little game board where you decide the amount of each square that you get to color.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun.
And
so fun. Are there any upcoming bonus coupon deals on that?
Well, you need to have the workbook in advance because why would you be doing this at all without the workbook?
Right. And
so once you get the workbook, if you send me an email with the words debt-free way to be, and that is a number 2, and a letter B.
Okay.
I will send you a free download PDF of one of my debt trackers.
Fantastic.
It's like a Monopoly board.
Yeah, but it's a PDF, so
that's right. That's right, and it is all your money that in the end you get back.
I'm looking
and that
forward
is
to doing
rewarding.
all of this because I did make the mistake of I got the Mayfair credit card just like I was taught to do, and then I put a bunch of charges on it.
Sure.
Did not read the fine print, and a year later I'm in horrible debt.
Incredible debt.
And I'm looking forward to your products.
Could we change the way that you talk about your own debt?
Sure. Yes, of course.
So
How would you
heard
recommend?
you say horrible debt.
Yes.
But I look at that as an opportunity.
Well,
it's an opportunity
it quite
to
literally
start
is
budgeting.
an opportunity for you. My debt is an opportunity for you. Is that right?
I would like you to think of it as just the beginning of your journey to being debt-free.
Okay, great. So it's like stop one on the Monopoly board.
That's right.
Great. So it's
what color will you use to color in that
No
space?
one would call the beginning of a Monopoly game horrible, right?
It's an incredible journey.
Yes.
And really, we're on it together, Dean. You have my email.
I've never felt so taken care of by someone who essentially created the situation that I'm in. So you have also people like to make hay about the fact that most of your personal wealth didn't come from investing or saving. It came when your grandfather died in a hot air balloon ride and left you $40 million when you were 22 years old.
Yes.
up until then, you went to Tisch for theater. You were not a financial person. You were waiting tables.
Correct.
And then suddenly you're this financial guru.
Correct.
And people say, like, what gives you the right and all of that. So how do you what do you talk
Well, I think, people come into large sums of money all the time.
Right.
And it's really what you choose to do with it. Now, let me tell you a story. I guess it's my aunt's friend. We'll call her Kathy. Now, she came into quite a large sum of money also from a death. And what she did is she took herself right to the casino.
Really?
Yes, she did. She lost it all, Dean. Wow. So what I would say to you is perhaps I came into this money by, not my own work, but it's what I've chosen to do with it since then that I find really inspires the average consumer.
I see. So maybe it won't happen to you, but if it does, make sure you make the right choices with it.
If you come into a large sum of money, please buy my workbook, and I will be there with you on that journey to make sure that every dollar has a plan.
Sure. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's so interesting that when you're not going to believe, I know you're sitting across from my second guest and I haven't introduced him yet.
Hi there.
And we'll get to him. But you're not going to believe it's going to, the way these
Does he have a lot of debt?
These two dovetail. I don't know, but we'll find out.
I can look him up.
I'm sure you will. And we're going to do that right after this. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to get back and keep speaking with my first guest and bring in my second guest.
Thank you.
So we'll be right back. The Corporation is sponsored by Vermont Comedy Club, offering world-class stand-up, improv, and sketch comedy 5 nights a week. The Comedy Club has a full bar, food menu, and table service, so make a night of it. Vermont Comedy Club is located just downhill from the Flynn Theater on Main Street in Burlington. They also offer classes for adults and camps for kids. For more information, visit vtcomedy.com. Now back to the show. And we're back. We've been talking with Betty L. Mayfair, best-selling author and financial advisor, and now I'm going to bring in my second guest to the conversation, who works for a totally different subsidiary of Hogswood-Cooper. But as I talked about before, it's pretty related here. Okay, my next guest is a part-time junior blackjack dealer at Grinwood Falls Casino in West Franc, New York. In that role, he interacts with gamblers of all kinds and maintains the integrity and flow of the games at his table. In his free time, he tours and photographs historic lighthouses. Please welcome Kevin Shingleton.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Thanks. Happy
Kevin,
to be here.
Kevin, we got to jump right into it here. What do you think about Betty L. Mayfair here talking about people putting all their money into casinos?
I got to be honest, I'm a little nervous to be sitting across from such a financial legend such as Betty.
Oh, there's no need to. We're all friends here, right, Betty?
That is right, Kevin. I have a lot of ideas for you.
I'm in an incredible amount of debt, so I look forward to talking further about that.
Great. And we'll get to that. I don't want to turn the whole episode into a financial literacy.
You would need to pay for that.
Sure, of course. But Kevin, you get to be a cog in the wheel at a major casino. That must be a pretty neat experience.
It is, yeah. I would like a little more responsibility there, but my boss doesn't feel I'm ready, which I get.
Yeah, I did some digging and I found out that your uncle Don Shingleton is the general manager.
He is, yeah. He's we love-hate relationship there.
Sure.
He got me the job, which was great, but again, like I said, he does not give me a lot of opportunity. So
yeah, and I mean, maybe that has something to do with. I hate to put you on the spot here, but I do have some of the comment cards from the casino that are related to your performance, and I think maybe this would enlighten us a little bit here. Some of these state that you wouldn't look customers in the eye. This one says you're entirely devoid of a personality. And there's one here that says you seem to actively dislike your customers. But you're hanging on to your job, so they must be doing something right?
Can I just have the first and last name of those people who said that?
Oh, I don't see that it's listed here. I think they're anonymous.
Okay. Was that... All right. And my uncle gave you that?
Well, they've been made available to me. We'll put it that way. But so you're working a minimum wage job, and your tips obviously are not going to be a huge amount here. So what is it that keeps you going to work every day? I guess every other day. You're a part-timer.
I am part-time, and the debt plays a huge role in why I work.
Sure. How did you get into so much debt in the first place?
Funny story. The casino, They have a delicious snack bar there, and I spend a lot of money at the casino. I know it's ironic to lose all your money in a casino and not gamble.
Right, it is. So you're losing it all at the snack bar.
Yeah.
Which is, as far as like risk to reward, that's a pretty, you're getting something out of it at least, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess, but it's, a lot of chicken tenders, so it's not like healthy, I suppose.
How many chicken tenders does a man have to eat to get himself into a crushing amount of debt?
At least 9 a day.
Wow. And I should reframe that, right, Betty? I should reframe that as like
the beginning of his chicken tender journey.
Right.
Yeah.
It started with chicken tenders and it ends with a debt-free life.
And heart disease, yeah.
Sure. Well, possibly.
Well, you can budget for that in advance.
And you should be already. Are you budgeting for potential heart failure now? Because, am I right, Betty? That's
correct.
That's part of the plan, right?
I would have an envelope set aside that says medical funds, yes.
Medical funds? Okay, yes. I'm just going to jot that down.
Great. There's no ink in your pen. Are you?
I'm a mess.
So I also know that your uncle did give you a break, and he put you in the VIP room at one night, and then he said that something happened where you spilled all the chips or something. So that was your big break?
Yeah. Well, he gave me 2 types of chips. He gave me poker chips and potato chips. And
okay.
As I've expressed, I'm not the biggest gambler, so I focused more on the potato chips. Okay. And lo and behold, I accidentally ate the poker chips. And spilled the potato chips.
Wow, I didn't even know a person could do that without just. Is there any chance that one of your debts is a medical debt from pumping your stomach after eating a whole lot of poker chips?
I would not like to comment on that.
Gotcha. I feel bad for you. We're gonna.
Thank you.
I don't want to put you too much on the spot because it feels like I'm making you feel uncomfortable. So I'm going to bounce back to Betty here just for a moment and ask Betty about her hobby, and maybe you can jump in here, Kevin, if you have any opinions or anything. You are a butter sculptor on the weekends.
Thank you. I am.
How did you get into that?
Well, I will say that it started out sort of as. Sure, I'll just say it's sort of an obsession.
Okay. It started out as an obsession.
It started out sort of as an obsession, which after a little bit of sort of reflection and work on myself, I realized I was using it as a replacement for sort of romantic love.
Oh.
Been there.
But what I will say is that I since have found a local farm that will actually donate the butter to me. Ooh. So it is a no-cost hobby, which I recommend to everyone. Find yourself a hobby, but not only should it be no cost to you, you should find a way to sculpt that into a side hustle.
Oh, is that pun intended? I'm assuming. Sculpted into a side hustle.
That's right.
So you're recommending to all people who with hobbies that they find a business and help them somehow to get them to.
You should not be doing anything with your time that is not making you money, right? So isn't the very definition of a hobby something that you just do for the enjoyment of it that has nothing to do with financial gain? Sure, but if financial gain brings you joy and your hobby is making you money, you see how they're all connected, right, Dean? And that really it shows you that your path in life is about your path to being debt free.
Okay, gotcha. So,
and what I would say to Kevin is that debt doesn't discriminate. So even though you don't though you don't have any personality whatsoever.
Well, allegedly, according to this comment card, yes.
Debt still has found you.
I gotta say, Dean, you were right. It's hard to hear such crushing words.
Isn't it? Yeah.
But also feel like there's hope for my debt.
Right?
And that is exactly my mission.
That's your brand.
That's my brand.
Any brand.
Thank you.
To this, it's yes.
Like I feel like you broke me down.
Right.
Left
and
me there.
And I'm going to be there to pick you back up.
As long as you're able to afford to purchase her
cash envelope system.
System. cash envelope system. And what is the cash envelope system?
I'm so glad you asked.
And if you don't mind me asking, because of course I would never ask you to, for free, give us any of your proprietary information.
Absolutely.
But
I don't mind, because there are actually a few others out there who have developed a cash envelope system. What is different about mine is that I hold these envelopes horizontally, and you'll find that many hold them vertically. So you're sort of slipping the dollars in from the top, where mine is you just tuck them in, and you can easily flip through them and see how much you have, because I do believe that budgeting is a very visual activity.
You're selling a system of basically just small envelopes for people to put small amounts of money in, but you've packaged it up in such a way that it seems like something much more than just envelopes, right?
Absolutely. So when you open up your cash envelope and you can visually see how many dollars you have to spend on, let's say, chicken tenders, you will be more apt to budget yourself and to cut back on the tenders rather than swiping a credit card for every basket of tenders you buy.
Now, Kevin, are you feeling patronized at all by this? Or?
I just don't see how this applies to me at all.
Because
she's talking about chicken tent. I guess, okay, I do see how that
she was
ties
directly
in.
speaking to you. She was making eye contact.
I made eye contact. It
was posed as just a general metaphor.
Right. I did that in a way to make everyone in the room feel included, when really speaking directly to your tragic but incredible situation.
See, I'm not going to look you in the eyes now, though, because it's about me.
I'll take the focus off you for a second. What's to prevent me from buying $3 worth of tiny envelopes and doing this myself?
You can. And you know what? Many people do start with that. And I think that you'll find that after a month or so of putting dollars into those plain envelopes, you're going to want to have some cute prints on there.
If I told you, for instance, if I went off to some competitor of yours and bought overpriced tiny envelopes with prints on them, wouldn't you call that me wasting funds I didn't need to spend?
Absolutely. However,
it would be.
It
would be.
Yes.
Okay.
However, had you budgeted for those in advance, let's say perhaps, if you were purchasing them in July, if in January you began setting aside money away for my competitors' cute envelopes, then I would say, you know what, Dean, you prioritized that, and that is your choice.
Wow. That's so interesting. And this is all, of course, laid out in the book, which I want to say the title of the book again, because it's really germane to this conversation we're having. Skip the Latte, A Guide to Escaping Crushing Financial Debt by Denying Yourself the Small Joys in Life. Which is what you're saying. And the small joy being maybe a tiny little envelope print. Maybe you want to either budget for it or skip it entirely, right?
That's right.
What's something, Kevin, what's like one thing that makes you happy that we could take away from you? Just something that you spend money on that gives you joy that we can take away from you right now.
I do spend some money. I have a pillow collection.
Really?
I do live in the hotel connected to the casino. Okay. And obviously hotels can be a little plain and boring, so I naturally bring my own pillows to kind of spice it up. And Betty, would you say that's an area where we could take that, do away with that in his budget?
Kevin, where are you generally buying these pillows?
Do I have to say?
You don't have to say. I don't know why you wouldn't. But
it is. It rhymes with Ned, Nath, and Neon.
Sure. And are you using coupons when you're shopping there?
I didn't know. What is
so that is embarrassing. But it's an incredible start to your journey. You will begin by finding a coupon before you go there next.
Wow. She speaks just like a guru, doesn't she? Thank
you.
Kevin, I'm looking at your blog here of the pictures of the lighthouses that you visit.
Oh God, you found that?
I did. It's like a photo blog, and I'm realizing that these lighthouses are all they're all indoors inside the casino. So like when you told me that you like to, I just assumed that you travel and take photos of historic lighthouses, but these look to be the ones that are inside the casino in different places.
Yeah, no, I don't really feel super comfortable leaving the casino all the time.
Okay.
So, and I just work with what I got.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. These are very nice photos.
That's what I thought. You can't really tell the difference between those.
Well, do you ever wonder what it's like to stand on the edge of a briny cliff and look at a historic lighthouse that's overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, for instance? Would that be of interest to you?
I mean, yes, but I'll ask you a similar question. Have you ever stood against the wall of a casino and stared at a lighthouse painted? It's the same, I'm pretty sure.
I don't understand what he's asking.
Everybody has different things that bring them joy, and if that brings you joy, then the only one
I would say just stop.
The only one who's going to take it away from you is going to be Betty here, who, if you're paying money for it, right? So wow,
I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to listen, I guess.
I guess we all have to, and that's really what we're doing here, right? We're saying we might not like it, but we have to sacrifice great amounts.
Absolutely.
Right, and that we shouldn't ask anyone else for help.
No.
Or or like, for instance, the medical industrial complex being what it is, and the housing industry being what it is. It's like it is our
fault.
Our fault and our responsibility,
yes.
right? To just save earlier and save more,
yes.
and do less in order to be able to afford this stuff, right?
Yes. You've nailed it, Dean.
Wow. Well, see. I feel like you're a little protege now or something.
Stop.
I'm very
You're
excited. October. I'm not. Okay. Well, maybe on October 15th when I get my half price workbook, then I could
we'll
hope to be that. And Kevin, I really feel for you, man. Like, is there anything we can do for you to make your life a little more enjoyable?
Honestly, I'm glad you read my email and had me on the show today.
Yeah.
My uncle makes my life pretty tough.
We did have I don't know why I'm telling you this. I don't have to tell you this, but I had a cancellation last minute, so I put you in there.
Oh, yeah.
So
you definitely didn't have to tell me.
We were supposed to have like a CEO of an oil company, and
you know what?
So
that's a bummer, but I do feel like that would have made way more sense.
Sure.
As a guest, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you, and if you need anything, ride home or anything, you just let us know.
You mean that?
Well, I'm sure
my car is full.
I'm sure we'll find you a way. I think I have a bus pass here. I could find you.
Okay, even that would be great.
Okay, great. All right, well, I think that's about all the time we have for today on The Corporation. I want to thank my guests so much for speaking with me, and for our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, and email me at deanardenfell@hotmail.com. And remember, Dean Ardenfell is not and has never been an employee of Hogswood-Cooper Media or any of its subsidiaries. Cheers, and thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
The Corporation is a presentation of Unicow Media. Dean Ardenfell was played by Nathan Hartswick, Betty L. Mayfair was played by Karlie Kauffeld, and Kevin Shingleton was played by Liam Welsh. Subscribe to hear new episodes every Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. For more great stuff, follow The Corporation Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and check out thecorporationpod.com.